eating bifun. I don't know if it's Japanese or Chinese, but it's bifun, mushrooms, and some stuff.
Looks good. Okay, everybody. Teja's going to start us off. Thank you so much, Teja.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. And with that, Nadeau Sensei is ready. Nadeau Sensei, good evening.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Oh. Okay. Ooh, a new diagram. The colors don't, there's no pattern to the colors. Okay, we just have to break it down. Ah, do I have to kill some time, or do you think most everyone is on right now, Lauren?
We have 32 people on, and I think that if you want to start, that's fine.
Okay.
We're gathering. We're still, there are a few more people coming in over the next minute or two, but
All right, well then
there's certainly a minion.
We can wait a minute. I will wait by, it's been, we took that weekend off, visited family. That was kind of fun. Old family stories. Okay. Anybody have anything that they bumped into in the last couple of weeks? Anything you want to, any questions or anything, comments, observations, insights? Open mic. Not a comment at all.
Yeah, Bob,
Yeah.
could you say something about the chanting in the domain of self?
Apparently it can be done. Okay, now what are you asking here? Yes, apparently chanting can be done there.
Okay, but I mean, we're chanting, we kind of, get finer, trade it all in, start sensing self. Is that the time? Do we want to continue chanting? I'm just kind of.
It turns you on.
So it doesn't, it's not one way or another.
If it turns you on to do so.
Okay.
Remember, there are different forms. Chanting is one form. There are different forms of different forms. We might have to wait till we're in the domain and add to that. But again, if you want to chant there, the Yayi Mami is probably very applicable. Whatever turns you on right now, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You're still in the domain. You're still, again, I don't know how much I want to say right now about domain. You're still in an energy set, and will utilize those energies to develop the self. I don't know how much I want to say right now on that. Is that okay? Later. Anybody, anything before we jump to our magic diagram here? Zilch, nada, there. Okay. Okay. I remember OSensei's manifest. I broke that up into two pieces. The heavier energy we call physical, okay, or whatever word you want to use, heavier. And then I broke it up into a finer energy realms, okay? Bunch of finer and finer and finer and finer dimensional, we use that. So those two together are what OSensei would call the manifest. I thought it was easier for people to break it up into two pieces, to establish a good physical presence and then move into finer energy levels. Okay, so I just thought it's useful, so I would like to continue with that pattern. Okay, so again, physical level, heavier vibrations, physical, fill the whole creation here. Okay, so it's not just out here, it's really the whole thing is that. Easy, settled, finer energy vibrations fills the whole universe. Okay, we're going to trade those in for another distinct piece, or since they called hidden, we'll call it now the manifest. And that piece is equal size, so they're all equal size. So it's all here and now.
Bob, may I just double check?
Yeah.
You said we're going to call it the manifest. Did you mean to say we're going to call it the domain?
Did I say manifest right there?
Yes, you did, sir.
My brain cells are going, damn.
No, good, no problem. Just wanted to make sure we got it straight.
Yeah, sorry. When the brain cells go, you lose it. Anyway, so yeah, the domain. I was talking to OSensei about this stuff. At first, we were using the word worlds, you know, the world of finer energy, and then the world of hidden, world of self, and very quickly came up with the word domain. Okay, domain. I kind of like it because if we say, oh yeah, it's just another circle, we might get a little too loosey-goosey in there. But to say, okay, now we're going into the domain. It's a much more advanced piece. It's an underlying piece, and we should treat it with some speciality. So I like that change of words, domain. Okay. Okay, so is this sort of almost kind of clear? Heavier energies, finer energies. We do things to trade it in. My phrase, we downtime with them. We let the dark, we go through the clear. So whatever form you're using, and there are different forms that you're allowed. Okay. Domain of self. Okay. I'll try standing. Let's go back to this map, which is, I guess, basically the same thing, but in my 3-tiered cake setup. Okay. And the same thing. This represents the heavier levels. We settle down. We're going to get to finer energy levels. Continue that settling down, but now be prepared. Gotcha. Be prepared for a bigger dark to make that transition into domain. Okay. I lost my sheet. Is there you want to tape it or something? It filled up. Stick. The backside you see is Miss Katja. Oh, she's gone. Anyway, stick.
It's not going to stick when you're ready.
It's not going to stick.
No. So you don't need it right now. Maybe you should carefully like this.
Anyway, okay, let me change here. Okay. Oh, right, is this, there we go, yeah, okay. We've done this before, do it again. First, we're calling this physical or heavier matter dimension. Get present, okay? Present. Present infers that you're beginning to feel, okay? Presence. Because the word is easy. Oh yeah, I'm present. I'm not in New York, so I must be present. I mean, it's not an idea. Present. Presence. Presence. It's a flavor of a feeling of presence. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect to continue finer through dimensions, but a certain amount of balance, squared awayness, find your own words again. Present. Present. Okay. We'll call that physical level. Okay. I'm just checking physical level, seeing if everything is here. See, if I'm thinking about it, I sort of can't even move my body. I can move it, but it's not the body moving. Body level, feeling that level. Body, it's your body moving, body moving, body moving. Okay, or whatever you're going to use for reference. So a certain amount of physical presence. We continue to settle. We know all the basic energy games, right? Maybe one day we'll go over all those sort of simple things. As you settle, you're really opening to the finer dimensions. Therefore, there's going to be more energy. Therefore, you might get warmer, or you might feel like you're being pushed. Some of you might feel like you're being pulled down. That goes both ways. But that's all basics, okay? Easy. But as I settle, knowing I'm going to move into finer energy dimensions, I sort of automatically open, open, sense of a little more room. You don't want to be too tight and narrow and open up for more energy. They blow through and give you more of a headache. Okay, that's a settling sense of opening. Okay, some sense of a little more depth. If I'm using my feet, feeling, for example, feet at the first one, physical feeling, should have been feeling the floor. Here, it starts to be more of a vague sense of my feet are deeper. There's something, maybe my feet stop at the floor, but there's a sense of extensions through my feet that are deeper. I can't pick that up with a thinking brain. Maybe I can start to pick that up with a feeling level brain. But when you get to a sensing level, you can begin to sense, oh yes, this is deeper. I sense it opening up deeper. A sense of some experience. Oh yeah. Something getting a flow through from that deeper. Okay. Easy, easy. Many, many levels of finer energy. Okay. But for the work that we do, OSensei like 7 or 8. Okay, just for practical here now kind of thing, that was enough. But apparently finer and finer and finer and finer and finer, you can really cut that salami thin if you want. Okay. Okay, so we're settling into finer energy dimensions. Easy. Sense, feeling, sensing, 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 sensing. My body will tell me a little bit if I'm at this level, the way it's moving, this equalness between two hands, for example. If I'm too heavy, I have trouble. One hand is always better than the other, okay? This level, there's a kind of ooh, 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 something. Those are my examples, but you get the flavor of what I'm trying to say here. See, in Aikido, if I'm trying to get somebody to a better level and I see them doing the move, I say, not quite, because if they're at this level, they're doing this, it has a whole different flavor to it. They're not, I'm doing it. It's getting done. It's getting done. It like comes from a different place. If you have the eye to see that, it's pretty easy to see. Oh, easy, easy. Gave you a bunch of ideas and stuff, so I'm going to take a moment because I don't want you to come up here and start being in that thoughtful realm that way. Easy. Settling down. Finer dimensions. Now, we don't have to perfect this, meaning you don't have to go, you need a certain amount of finer dimensions, okay? Certain amount of sensing level. Okay. Now, we don't have the time, we should spend a little bit longer here, but just you do it on your own time. Certain time where when you feel a certain level of balance or harmony at that dimensional level you're at, that's sort of arbitrary. Again, OSensei said some people will catch it, there's a self available earlier. Some will catch it later, meaning you need a little finer level before you go, okay, self, are you here? Trying to think, okay? He said some won't catch it at all. What happens there, a little information for you, is they get into the finer, and the finer vibration rates are beautiful. And the character balanced by those finer feels better, sense of his person is better, and they just fall in love with that. And they go finer and fall in love with that level. And then they go finer and fall in love with that level. So they get so, I don't say caught up with the ever finer dimensionality that they don't catch. There's a self clamoring here someplace. Don't know if I said it well. If you have a question of that, we can come back at it later. So a certain amount of balance, finer dimension. You choose if you think it's balanced enough, okay? And there's, I call it a trade-in. Everything here, all along the way, there's been a self, okay? So the physical guy's got a self. The subtle guy's got a self, same self, just a little clearer, a little more present. As we get finer dimension, self is still here, but it's still covered over with the heavier energies, okay? It's still cocooned a bit. Finer. Now, some of you have a sense of self, okay. All of this is being traded in. It's a downtime, but it's kind of major. Well, Sensei would say, you're going to bump into some real big dark here. But he said it's a little bit different than any of the earlier darks. For me, the sense of dark is softer, smoother. I don't want to say sweeter, that's not quite the word. I don't know, just a nicer flavor. Don't know how to say it. We're going to have to come up with words so we can dialogue with each other. And all that is traded in to the domain of self. Okay. Now, at first, some of you will be close and have a sense. So I say, don't forget the percentage game. So again, on your own time, you have to hit it again for the practice. Okay, so you settle and see what level you're at, finer level, finer energy dimension level of the manifest, and you trade it in again to the domain of self. Okay, the domain where self resides, exists, is experiencing itself in the domain. Oh boy. OSensei, it's very personal. This strong sense of follow yourself back. I try to get that across when I say Bobby, Robert, Nadeau, follow yourself back. Don't try to follow St. Paul or St. Joe or who the hell ever. Okay, you can learn how they do it. Oh, that's cool. But you got to do it you. It's very personal. Heavy emphasis by OSensei on that. Personal. It's very personal. And your self in the domain is very personal. So follow yourself back. Don't go on somebody else's track. You can learn from how they track a bit, but you got to do your track. Okay, something like that. I suggest that in the domain, there'll be a tendency to try to be aware of things. In the domain, self, I would go more for self is feeling, experiencing its own aliveness. That self itself is alive onto itself. And when you get that more in the heaviers, it would be first the body, and then you're allowed to think or have a philosophy, but first this. And then that part will naturally kick in. But first, this aliveness, presence factor of self in the domain. Okay? And then it'll naturally take in and be aware of more of the domain. But first, the aliveness thing, to me, is very critical, very important. Okay? We have a lot of emphasis in creation with awareness of. And I don't know how much I want to get into that, but you're missing half. That's very critical. In a certain way, you won't be able to continue properly with just awareness of. Okay? Knowing the awareness majors will fight me over that. Sorry. Very important that it experience itself. Okay? All right, let's take a pause there. If I sneak around. Oh boy. So that was the 3-layered cake pattern. Present, physically, feel yourself, start to shift from thinking to more feeling, to a finer level of feeling, finer, sense feeling, sensing. Okay, that's the brain map I try to lay out. Those are pretty good words, pretty good pattern. Okay. Then there is a trade-in, a kind of a letting go of to the domain, okay? And domain is in the same locality That's why OSensei said, don't go anywhere. It's here. It's here. And he stressed in the Aikido, the first part of that, body, because he wanted to continue that deeper approach to this. Okay. So what has he been emphasizing? Brett, can we bring this one up again? We don't need you, Miss Katja. Brad's got it covered. Okay, here's words that OSensei pushed. I love this one. Self returning back to itself. Hang with that for a bit. Self returning back to itself. Whoa. Whoa. So we know in the matter, finer energies still in the manifest, there is self, okay? So what is that? This self returning back to the self that's waiting for itself to return? You play with it. But I love that phrasing. Self returning to itself. A lot there. You play. I can surmise certain things and throw them out, but now you play. You get a sense of it. You tell me. Okay. All right. Self returning to itself. Okay. Noah through the years has loved the Noah, what? Returning son. The prodigal son story crops up every few years. Depends on where we are in our work. And that the flavor of that sort of crops up here, self returning back to itself. And that sort of, ooh, is that like a prodigal son story here? Okay, where are we?
Sensei, this is Lauren. I wonder if you add into that phrase self returning to its original self.
He didn't say it that way. He just said itself. So I don't know. I might say, because we still have the heavenlies yet, which we're not going to tap right now, that eventually original self. So yes, we can know that, but I wouldn't call that the original self. It's a major along the way. Remember, we still have the heavenlies we have to contend with, or we have to square away, balance, whatever, within the domain. Okay, so I wouldn't say the totality of self, or the end of self, or the perfection, original of self. I wouldn't go that far, but it's an important step along the way. Is that okay?
Yes, I very much understand that. I guess I'm hearing in this new phrase that you're saying tonight, an echo of something that you said last year about, the purpose of misogi, of purification, of balance, is to return to the origin. Eventually,
yes.
Something. This phrase of that we're here in this world, but we're returning to a.
Yes, and we're on the journey. That's why this piece is critical. It's a major step on our journey. Major, big time. But right now, we're not going to talk about the original. We're not going to talk about the before creation set. We're not going to talk about that because I don't want you to try to zip through this and be aware of that. We got too much to do here. Okay. It's like you're a Nikyu. Stop asking about being a Sandan. You got a lot of work to do yet. Yes, it's there, but we have a lot of fascinating stuff to do in the domain of self. But that's part of the journey. We're en route.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so what other words now? So, interesting phrase, self returning to itself. Other things, there's a lot of implication about a deeper dark here. So this downtime, taking everything heretofore sensed and all of that trading in to the domain. Okay. All right. The depth is showing up a lot. The again, kicking you off some of OSensei's stuff that he told me. Deep, deep, deep. So there's a lot of back to the 3-layered cake thing. Don't mind playing with deeper and deeper. Don't mind playing with, well, one form, the dark as a travel vehicle to enable you to better return to yourself in the domain. Okay, probably other forms, but I still treat them the same way. Okay. Try to have more experience. Let's say the dark, for example. It's like, oh yeah, dark. It's just a word. Not that. But the dark itself having a feeling about itself. Dark itself feeling itself. Noah, you want to jump in on that word? You've been playing with it a bit.
Yes, the dark feels itself, and it's kind of self-referencing in that way. It's not simply
it's not simply, hang on, it's not simply a shade over here that you pull down. Yes, there's a shade. Go ahead. It's
an experience of value in and of itself. It's not just there as a way to get from level 1 to level 2 or however whatever journey you're on. It has a value in and of itself.
Yeah. So it's something itself, I guess we could say roughly. Again, we're going to have to establish a better language as we go on, but yeah, huh? You all right there, Bob?
Yes.
Okay. And I would treat all the other ones, the clearing and all of those, in a similar fashion as what we're just been talking about. Okay, where are we? So deeper, be prepared for bigger dark, but it'll be OSensei said a different, I don't know, texture, quality, something different than maybe how you bumped into dark in the heavier dimensions. Remember, some people don't like dark. It's thick. It stops them. It's at this level. Apparently, the flavor of it is much nicer. Much nicer. Okay. What else? Okay. Let's see. My suggestion of doing self this way, of picking up the aliveness that self is experiencing with itself. Okay. Later, there's another word similar that OSensei uses, but I like temporarily, it's alive. Okay. Alive with itself, it's aware of itself. Aware of itself, it's alive of itself. So it has that, I don't know what to call that, two-piece pattern within itself. It's not two pieces, but within itself. Aware, I experience. Experiencing, I am aware. Okay. Again, I have to tell the people, so many major in awareness, you got to pick up this piece. It's really kind of critical. Okay. Not taking away your awareness. I'm just saying there's another part here, and that's the aliveness of it, the feeling it has with itself. Okay. So aliveness. Okay. someplace in there eventually should begin to show that there is in that aliveness a core power center, a core radiation. Sensei calls that emanation at that level. From there, it emanates through to the heaviers, through to the physical body, I guess to the world you're in. So it's that inner emanation, okay? In a certain way, that's nothing new for us, a certain way, except for the depth of it. So there's a physical arm, and I settle, bing, 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 finer dimensions, the beginnings of an energy showing itself semi-clearly, energy dimension. My sense is energy dimension. Then it's energy move the arm. And the arm feels longer than just the physical, because I'm in that level. It feels longer. It tends to be stronger, tends to be more accurate. It tends to be more sensitive. So a finer dimension, and then this outer functions better, okay? So we kind of know that pattern. This is a very advanced form, could we say it that way, of that pattern. Inner, finer domain, self-alive, there are emanations from there, okay? And are we okay so far? So then, positioning, another word that OSensei really pushed. The positioning. If we're just aware, the cells tend to hover around or hover over, okay? To get, I don't know, better use, for lack of words, a better use out of this core emanation, the positioning should be better than just hovering over. Position, so it's boom, boom, boom. So I tried to tell you when OSensei was standing there, if you had a sense of things, you could see, yes, it's physical, and yes, there's some energy emanating, and whoa, there's something even more there. That all these things were there. He was actually standing there. Okay. We have to create our own language here, people. Give us time.
Sensei, what do you mean by positioning? Positioning in this, like that you just said, positioning.
Yes. Positioning. When your body, we okay? Do I have to move? Okay, I'll move for a moment. Yeah. Okay, because first we were positioning here. What does that mean? Well, I'm here feeling here-ness. My positioning is good. Oh yes, I understand one should be present with themselves. It's not nice idea, but it's not the actual positioning. The actual positioning is this actual. So I'm not anti the thought of it. It's just don't forget the other half of it, which is this experience. We could call that position. Okay. Positioning appropriate for, in the heavier realms, we would talk about positioning properly with your uke. Okay. I can't stand 2 feet next to him if he's got a stick.
Right.
Okay. The positioning about, okay, here I've got a little breathing room. Okay. If he's got a 20 foot long spear, like they had in the castles in the old days, then I've got to move back more. So there's a positioning situation, but this positioning with yourself here and now. Okay. If I have an idea, there's a better Bobby Robert. That's a nice idea. Good. Now, where is it here? Let's experience it here. So I'm positioning. Can I say positioning with that idea? Not great words, but positioning. Okay. We're just trying to get to, I think. So here's heavy energy dimension, easy. Finer energy dimensions, easy. Trading it in, easy. The domain. So the position of the self in the domain should be here, here. Not an idea about it. Not now. Now it positions here. And the core, let's call it, of the self emanating should be here emanating. You should have seen OSensei when he turned on. Boom! It was here. I had this idea. Good. Again, I'm not anti-idea. I'm just saying, yes, that's nice. Now, experience the idea. Be present in the idea. Sorry, the word is so lousy. Best I can do, Lauren.
That was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Let me quick look, see if I forgot any of the words. Self returning to itself. Oh, soaking. Soaking. He throws that out a lot here. Soaking. You can play with soaking through the manifest, good earlier practice. But it really comes up when you're trading in to move into, to have the domain show that there's a lot of soaking. You throw that out right around in here someplace. Bob, you've been playing with soaking a bit. Anything you want to say about it?
The dark is a great place to practice soaking because it's so sort of quiet and deep and cool. You can hone your skills at soaking in the dark. And then when I've done that, I've gotten better at soaking in other places because the dark is kind of moist and all kinds of minerals there you can intake if you soak in it.
And people, you're going to have to play with it. We could surmise certain things here. But again, you've got to play with things. You've got to experience things. You got to make runs on these. Anyway, is soaking a part of letting go of the heavier wrappings that we were wrapped up in the heavy dimensions and the finer energy dimensions? And the threads get lighter as we get finer, but there's still some threads, okay, that in the soaking, is that melting those away? Is that helping the self returning to come back cleaner? Yeah, cleaner is a good word because those things they like me soaky. Is that what's happening with that soaking? So you guys hang out, you play, you mull on it, you experience it. Okay, so soaking was a strong word that he threw out. Returning back to itself, soaking, deeper, deeper, deeper. Be prepared for big dark. Okay. What else? And the alignment, yeah. Emanate. Okay, as you play with self in the domain, and we're talking about the emanations coming from the core of self, temporarily we'll use that, core, how they can affect the finer, heavier of your lineup, okay? Now, we do have to be careful because you want to hold your position, again, for lack of words, hold your position as self in the domain. So watch out for the tendency of, is it working? Is anything going on? You're out of it, okay? So don't worry about that. Just do it to do it. And we'll see. We'll see if it affects, how it affects, okay? That's some of the work Susan and I are doing with some of our clients, playing with themselves, dialoguing with themselves, is seeing if and how emanations from self can potentially assist, heal, balance out that their person we're calling the heavier dimension or finer dimension, a person. And we're starting to get a little feedback on how that works, how effective is it, can they retain it, what keeps them from retaining it, what keeps them from moving away from it again. So we got a lot of study, a lot of practice. This is a hell of a fascinating journey, a hell of a fascinating realm. So where am I? Next week, I'm going to do, I'd like to lay out a core pattern. We're bringing up core here in the domain of self, but I might want to run a core pattern through the dimensions, just as a type of a map, directional map. Okay. Anyway, next week. What else? What else? Positioning. I think pretty close, major words there. Self, and the domain. Amy, Florida, noticed as she was in this area, whatever words she used, that this core boom, boom, boom was showing strongly for her. So, okay, cool, great. Diana, Florida, was mentioning in this area that there was a kind of a, oh, hell, what you call it, a inside out turnaround, that something was happening there. And I think, don't know if I called her about it, but I think maybe Diana, check this self returning back to itself, if there's something that happens there, along with what you mentioned to me on however you message stuff on the phone. I'm sorry, I don't have the terminology. I'm a penitent.
Both of them are present tonight, Sensei.
Yeah, okay. And so those are just two examples. Susan, anything on this pattern that I should have said and haven't said yet? Susan, are you on tonight? She's probably still on the road. Okay, she's on the road.
I think she's here, but maybe not. Maybe she can't respond.
If she's stuck in her car a certain way, maybe she can't. We'll give her one moment. Susan. No? Okay, we'll pass on her. Oh, where the hell am I? Where are we? Self. Yeah, so just do a bit your first set. Remember your dimensional levels before you trade in doesn't have to be some kind of ultra perfection, but a certain degree of balance. Tom, I saw Tom was on. So for example, Tom, when you hit that level in your sittings where it's at home, possibly that's a good enough place. Enjoy that and then trade in there for the domain of self. If not, we'll move into a couple of finer dimensions and then try it there. So that could be an example, some kind of level of comfortableness where the vibration rate feels really harmonious. Musicians probably have a good word for that harmonious thing there when there's, and we did it with the chants, Yayi Mami, Yayi representing for me, the center, radiating out to the mommy feeling it, again, for lack of words, and responding back, mommy, moo, mamo. Okay, and that resonance. So if you're playing with resonance vibrations, there should be a level there where it really feels neat, nice, something. That could be a trade-in place. Give it a shot. Okay. Again, some people catch it earlier. Some people catch it later. Some people get so caught up in the finer, they miss it totally. They don't have a calling enough from the self. Maybe they don't recognize the self because the finer is so fine that they don't recognize this domain of self. Okay, so you all figure it out. Where the hell are we?
Coming up close to 7:30, and as much time or as little time as you'd like, Sensei.
I'm kind of waiting for observations, questions, insights, help.
Okay, everyone. Who wants to step forward as Uke?
What did I screw up here that you totally don't understand?
Sensei, this is Tija.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think you screwed up anything at all.
Thank you. We'll finish now.
It's a good time to stop. An observation, a connection with your positioning, and as I was moving with you and watching you move, I was feeling that this was a kind of alignment. Alignment is not a bad word to use in positioning, but it is a relational alignment. So you're relating to the domain, or I won't use the word domain. You're relating to the conditions that are present, and that alignment, that positioning, gives you a certain connection with the potential of depth there, which I'm appreciating. I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but I have something else as well.
No, I like the word alignment too. For
Alignment.
Alignment.
It's
I'm usually sorry.
That's right. I was just going to say it's not a static condition. It is a living condition.
Yeah.
Alignment is like balance. It's alive. It's living.
Yeah. OSensei mentioned something about that constant change thing, but I don't want to throw that word out too early, where you won't align a position better because it's ever changing. It's like, hold that word off for a bit. But a little bit later. Get a sense of presence in the domain here and now. Here and now. That's positioning here and now. This finer thing that we picked up, this domain of self, is here and now. Okay? Heaven on earth. as it gets more advanced, I don't bring up the heavenly word. No heavenly word right now. Domain. But anyway, this alignment, this overlaying presence, this, but that. Go ahead. You had something else you wanted to say.
Yeah. Self returning to itself. It's really quite a beautiful phrase, and it is subject to misunderstanding, I think.
Oh, yes.
You think?
People, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't.
Yeah.
And that's another thing OSensei said.
But
You're going to create problems if you don't. You're going to create problems when you do. So
there it is.
Human condition here.
The observation that I make in kind of a meta view of this is that it really speaks to a return. You're talking about this as an incredible journey, which it is. It is a sense of returning, as Lauren said, original self, and whether or not we're referencing that as a term right now, it's still an evolution towards that return. This you've talked about whether you have the calling for this, and one of the terms that has been used over the centuries has been eros, E-R-O-S, which is kind of the movement of the universe back, the self returning to itself.
Yeah,
just a way of speaking about it. And I just
it's built in the beat.
It is built in, and we can also trust. I think we can trust the universe as it unfolds through individuals in their timing around that. And it's nice to have a good teacher who's also kind of pushing in some ways the boundaries and the places that we're prone to stop and become stagnant.
I agree. Let's go find one.
Yeah, good plan. Thank you, Sensei.
Hello, Danny here.
Hey, Danny there.
Hi. I think it's a very beautiful thing you're setting out here, Sensei. Thank you. And I've written down the domain of here, which for me just puts everything in a nice understanding for myself, and I do love the self returning to self, and the way you put it, alive within itself, and in itself alive, just has this incredible beat, and for me it carries a great joy. There's a signal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention another thing that will show somehow, and Danny just brought it up, that we're aware of qualities as a human being, finer energy dimensions, we're aware of finer qualities, that in the domain, the self, what to say, it's not source, but anyway, there are even finer qualities emanating at that level. So thank you, Danny, for reminding me about that he's picking up one of those. Can't go wrong with qualities, picking up two to partner with each other. I don't get any more than that, but they like to pair. Enough there. Okay. Let's see.
Danny, Danny, did you finish your thought?
Yes, I think I did. Yeah, for now, no, I'm very settled in what I got to say and what Sensei said. So yeah, thank you. I think it's just the wording of this and the encapsulation for me with everything in it. I also wrote down about the son becoming the father and the father becoming the son. It feels like there's this protective transitioning place in here.
Mm-hmm. He's on to something, people, but Danny's a little more advanced here. Whether he'll accept that fact or not, probably not, but he is. So you're onto something there. We'll continue. It'll show clearer. So anyway, Danny, very important, that positioning and that aliveness for where you and me are at right now. Yeah, you following me? The aliveness factor. And if that translates to a stronger core emanating, we need that now. So, yeah. Okay. Danny and I were talking about a particular thing. I'm just reminding him again. Somebody. Where the hell are we?
Sensei, it's Tom.
Hey, Tom.
I really like what has been said about the journey, returning to self. Reminds me of the Odyssey. It's very classical, or Gilgamesh story of individual going out beyond their personal boundaries, their sense of what, like you say, okay, I'm in this calm, I'm in this home, I'm in this space, but to really connect with self, you've got to take an adventure beyond all that, take a risk. I guess the word is risk. And then it brings up things about experiencing oneself, respecting self, nurturing self, harmonizing with self. These are vehicles to take you beyond into this area of risk, and then returning back to a place that you consider home. So there is a journey, there is an adventure, there is an experience that's quite profound if one is willing to take it. So.
Yeah. Okay, you said something there that yeah, we kind of burn ourselves out.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the early stages, it's downtime. How do I know? Because I can't anymore. I'm exhausted. I can't do anymore. I can't even think anymore, whatever. It's downtime. Unfortunately, in the human condition, we don't even respect that downtime. It's like we all want to be awake. Nobody wants to take a nap or go to sleep. Yeah. No, I got to keep pushing ahead. So that downtime flavor and its proper use is really not known. We should take a chunk, one of our sessions, and go over the levels of downtime, whatever word you want to use, and play with that a bit, because it's an art. It's a natural happening that has really not been appreciated.
Yeah.
Okay. And probably, I believe what Tom was trying to say was all journeys, whether they're Greek historians or whatever, all journeys infer in this returning back kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Out and coming back, going out to the boundaries and coming back to the self, and a discovery.
And the earlier stupidities, I'm afraid of myself, or myself is ugly, I don't want to go there. It's like, dear God, will you come on? So we got some stupidities from the heavier into the lesser. I'm not sure if it's my job to deal that much with the heavy stupidities. I think that's somebody else's job. So we'll cover them real fast again, just as a reminder. But it's not something I want to stay in and major in. Okay, kind of thing. At the moment, I'm more interested in people that have a calling from self, that have a sense there's something there, that have a sense there's more that's a bit different than heretofore. Yeah, that's why we have this Friday night thing. I figure if you're hanging out this long, I would surmise a lot of you have a calling of self. Okay. It's a definite thing. When OSensei met Deguchi, there was this bang. He said it was a self-recognizing self. So it is a definite thing. All right. It'll be interesting to see how that shows as we get more experience as self in the domain here, how that how that shows, how that happens, how that communicates. Again, we have to create a language. Anyway, somebody. I'm all over the place, so help.
Sensei, how are you doing?
Yeah.
This is Andrew from Aikido San Jose. What is the physical circle over there? What does it mean?
Heavier energy vibration level. Did you come in late?
A little bit, 15 minutes.
Okay. OSensei calls these manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're all energy. Everything's energy. From where we're starting, those first energy levels are kind of heavy. So we call them matter or body, physical. Okay.
Yeah.
The word you like there. And as you settle, you move into finer dimensions. So I call that finer energies, meaning finer dimensions. Okay. And eventually finer balance. When you have the calling, you trade it in, my word. And there is a domain of self, something within that's here, that's available for those that have a calling or a pull from it, or a push to knock on your door. I don't know, something. Boom. Okay. So I was just representing dimensional stuff. It's the same, just a different angle on the 3-tiered cake. You remember the 3-tiered cake?
No, I don't.
Get out of here. Somebody. God, I was so happy with the 3-tiered cake. I was excited about the 3. I thought that was fantastic. You don't remember the 3-tiered cake?
I think I came in late, that's why.
Forget it. Hello out there in the world, somebody. No great observations, a sense of, a wild guess, a question that's really,
Yeah, I have this is Amy from Florida.
Oh, no.
Hi. I had an experience when I was stepping into self, where I sensed those emanations, and I sensed it as it having a particular pattern. Am I deceiving myself, or are you picking that up too?
I don't know. What do you mean by a particular pattern?
I'm sorry?
What does that mean, a particular pattern?
It was like almost like a network, like it wasn't just an outflow of particular energy, or there were many outflows, and then there was like circles connecting the outflows concentrically.
Was that a center to circle thing at this level? Do we call it showing? I don't know.
I don't know either.
But we're well versed in center to circle and circle to center. So if you're talking anything around in there, why not in the domain? Because certain things have to carry through. The fancier level, let's say, again, for lack of words, the domain. But certain things have to carry through, like a center circle approach to 2 energies there would be feasible. A dark to the light would be feasible. I forgot what else. You could probably chant Ya Ye Mami at that level and get something out of it, because there's 2 there. Okay. So I don't know. Keep playing.
Yeah, I will. I will. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sensei,
remember, again, you're dealing with an intelligence. You can really ask, what are you? What are you doing here? How do you work? This is intelligence. Everything talks. Okay, so there's ways of dialoguing with stuff. Okay, it's no mistake that some people can be horse whisperers and others are dog whisperers. You can talk to everything and anything. You talk to your plants, for Christ's sakes. Everything. So because you're in a finer level doesn't mean it cannot communicate. It's just a matter of learning, I don't know the word, how it communicates or learning how to hear it at that level. Again, I don't know the words here. Yeah. Okay.
Sensei, I wanted to offer something in relationship to what Amy just said. Kind of a little bit from the world of meditation. She was asking about, which I thought was a really great observation, that she stepping kind of, I think her language was, Amy, your language was stepping out of self. You were experiencing patterns, right? This is not unusual in meditation. When people come out of deep meditation, to one of the first things that they connect with is sometimes called the causal world, which is also these deep archetypes that are embedded in creation. Mm-hmm. So, and they have patterns. So I just thought I would offer that.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Which reminds me, I believe OSensei mentioned something about archetypes at this domain level. I don't remember exactly, so I'll pass on it for now, but something about that. Yeah, I'll pass. Thank you, Tisha. Okay, I'm free. You guys got anything, or we can finish up, whatever you want.
Sensei, it's Mike.
Okay.
When you were talking earlier about not just simply having the idea about something, but actually experiencing it, it's very minor, but the words that came to my mind were entering the idea. In other words, you can have an idea that sits out there, as you say, and you're kind of looking at it, but the process of actually moving into that idea and inhabiting it.
Yeah. My worry would be that it tends to be sort of an upper flavor to ideas, and they may enter into an upper instead of there's the idea. Now its counterpart, I don't know what to call it, is the actual of it. Again, I like the position here. Okay, so but I like your idea. I'm just telling you what I worry about with people, because I know what they tend to do. Enter into the idea and they get a brighter idea, and here and now, people, here and now, dimensionally here and now. See, you've been brought up to think, I'm talking to people, you've been brought up to think that upper is finer. It's like, no, everything is finer dimensionally, okay? Tried to show you that with crap. You settle with it, finer dimension. Oh my God, it's fertilizer. It's not just crap. You settle with it and oh my God, it's life-giving. You see, it's not just finer up there. It's through the whole thing, dimensionally finer. But we've been brought up to think upper is finer only. And under is bad shit, bad stuff. The devil's down there. Oh my God, oh my God. So anyway, so thank you, Mike. Just I would say embody the idea, embody the idea. See, I tried to show you simple stuff. I have an idea, I would like to stand better. Whatever that means, I would like to stand better. Touches its counterpart. The way I moved up wasn't too bad. Some degree of the counterpart was touched and went into actual effect. Oh, I enjoy that. I would like to stand better. I want to say fuller. I'd like to stand better, fuller. The idea touches its cohort, its partner, something. And the partner, oh, here. And I could feel that movement came from a little bit different level. I don't know if you could see it on TV, but it felt more, felt more, oh, fuller. I wanted fuller. Oh yeah, there was a bit fuller. So I want to put it in the proper location because it's here and now. It's not there and then. Here and now kind of thing. All right. So we'll have to play with that some Friday night about sort of, I don't know, misunderstandings, but sort of one-sidedness, you know, up there instead of here, here, here. And here includes the great under of here and the great upper of here and the great under of here. Okay. That's why I drew a lot of the sketches with that line in the middle. And a lot of people just do work in the upper half. And they really stay away from all of this under there. And that's a shame. That's half of creation. Okay. And my feeling here is if you don't line up to some level with the fullness of creation, it's going to be very hard, if not impossible, to continue on properly. Okay. You can't go to heaven with half a universe, could I say? And have some sense of the wholeness of it. And then we'll see about going to heaven. Okay, anyway. Oh, I'm
sorry, Sensei. The other thing I was just going to mention is when you were talking about self returning to self, I experienced a very distinct reaction in my body. It happened a number of times. I got a distinct shiver.
Okay.
Literally as if two things were meeting that hadn't been there before, I guess.
Now again, not saying no to anything you said, but don't stay with the shivering body. We're going self-returning to itself. If the body shivers for some reason as an after effect, so be it. So just what you're going to do with it. If people get into the shivering, you know what I used to call that? Spiritual masturbation. Oh, my body's vibrating. Oh my God, how spiritual. And they wouldn't go any further. And it's a dumb take on it anyway. Vibration.
Understood.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I love that phrase. I used it for many years because apparently it was abounding around at the time. Anyway, are we finishing up? I got no place to go.
We are officially at this very moment. Now that you've said the magic words, we are finishing up. I want to thank you, Sensei, for leading us so eloquently tonight. And I want to thank everybody for
I was going to apologize for being garbled. We need to language this up better. Sorry, I'll do the best I can. But as long as you get the drift.
And so tonight, Sensei, before you came on camera, Teja Bell was kind enough to strum his guitar and start us out in a good mood. And I wonder, Teja, if I could impose, could you send us home the same way? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Beautiful,
Thank you, Teja
Teja.
Bell Roshi.
Beautiful.